Yeah, I would say for sure. The minor leagues, it's a difficult place.
Tell me
You know,
about
like you guys know, it's not easy. But yeah, everything started out great for me in pro ball. You know, high pick, a lot of the glitz and glamour. Everything was going well. Swung the bat well right out of the gate, and then I got to Double A, and that was in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I've spoke about this a lot, but that place is a tough place to hit. Don't get me wrong, but that place punched me square in the mouth.
Yeah.
And I was there for 2 years. Continually heard from fans, other people online. I mean, why do we pay this guy this money?
Yeah,
Why do we do what? This guy doesn't deserve this, you know. And at that time, I mean, I wasn't hitting to the caliber of the player that I was. But swallowed some pride, went back to high A, figured some things out, and it wasn't necessarily that my swing was completely jacked up. It was to some degree, but it was more. It was very mental for me. It had gotten in my head. It was just difficult for me, and so I had a very good mentor that was there with me, and he helped me get through some of that. And honestly, it was more like talking it out and not even really working on the swing. We did work on the swing, but just talking things out and going from there. Moving forward, I started in high A that year. That was 2015. I went to, didn't hit well to start with, started hitting better, ended up going to AAA that same year, just as like a filler position. The guy got called up to the big leagues. They were like, we're not sending Kaleb back to Double A. He dang sure can't hit in Little Rock, so he's not going there. Ended up going, and I banged. I hit to the best of my ability and hit the best I'd ever hit in the minor leagues, and was debuted that year in August. And that was obviously incredible. I mean, those guys, there's a ton of those guys that are still on that team that are good friends of mine.
Yeah.
It's just surreal. But like I said to your previous question, it's surreal, but it's a testament to who I was around and how I was brought up, right? Playing with D, playing with Rob, playing with Aaron, playing for you. It's just a testament to how much everyone believed in all of the guys sitting at this table.
Yeah.
That we could all go that far.
Well, it's to me, what stood out to me as far as the perspective, it's one thing to coach you, but it's another thing to look across the field and you're playing against us, And then what stands out to me are two things. Number one, your presence. You look like you're always ready. You look like you're prepared. You had you passed the look test, right away, and there are some folks that always put the uniform on correctly, just have everything all buttoned up. They used to say that about Aaron. He used to have his Goso stuff on. I forget the name Robert had for him, but anyway, you always looked the part. Secondly, I don't care what your struggles were. They are. I mean, man, you went as far as folks ever dreamed. What was really important and really I admire from you is you never changed. You was always the same dude. I'd hear people talking about you good and lofty, like, this guy so and so. I'm like, that guy, I remember. He's a pretty humble guy. And then I'd see you, Coach, what's up, man? So where'd you get that from? I mean, who kept you grounded and how were you able to sort of stay centered, through all the stuff that you went through?
I would say that's definitely both my parents. Probably my dad more. You guys know my dad. Everybody in this room knows my dad. He's a man. He's funny. Yeah. He's always got a smile on his face. He would give you the shirt off of his back.
Yeah, no doubt.
They just, that's how I was raised. I was raised not to be better than other people. So what? I'm, a pretty good baseball player. Great. That's great. But I would rather leave a place and people realize, like, hey, man, this guy's a great human being, more than he is a great baseball player. And that's what I always strive to do. And like anybody, I know I fell short of that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't a turd at times, because I was. But that was what I always tried to do, and I would give that to my parents, for the way they raised me.
Yeah. just remember, everybody has to turd. All right. Robert and DJ, you both played Division I baseball. Robert, you played Division II as well. Every time I hear a kid today talk about college, the only thing coming out of their mouth is D1. Can you compare and contrast, difference, both of you, between playing a really good D1 team versus a really good D2 team or JUCO team? Because DJ, I know y'all played some.
Played some big school. Played Georgia
Right.
Tech, Florida State.
Yeah. I mean, you were Division I, but did y'all ever play like smaller schools?
Yeah, yes, I played some
And
small
then
schools.
compare and contrast that when kids, if they're listening to you, if kids are out there trying to decide whether to go D1, D2, D3, whatnot. Compare and contrast, which one's better for you, and what should they, what factors should they consider before they make a decision to go to school?
D1 ball is a grind. If you're not dedicated to getting up early, the long days, D1 ball is pretty much I'm waking up 5:30 in the morning, conditioning. Right after conditioning, I gotta go take a shower, maybe get breakfast, so I'm not late to my 8 o'clock class. 8 o'clock class to 10, got a little break for an hour, get ready to go lift weights, and then in the afternoon, making sure we had practice, about 3 hours. After practice, gotta go to study hall, doing it all over again. It's a grind. And then the competition, like Rob was saying earlier, I might see from these two, I'll see 90s. Whenever we play against Brooke, I'll see 90s. We get in the playoffs. Me and Kaleb played against some really good arms in playoffs, but on a regular basis, probably seeing low 80s maybe. D1 ball, every Friday night, I'm seeing 90 plus. Saturday, that guy might not throw as hard, but he's locating. He can put the ball wherever he wants to put it. Sunday, might see somebody throwing hard, might not have the location, but he's still a difficult arm. It's a grind, and the competition and the speed of the game is much different than high school ball. Mm-hmm. So I say D1, in anything next level baseball is difficult. Some guys that go JUCO, they make it there just because of grades maybe. They may be as good as somebody on D1, they may not just have the grades. But if you're thinking about going to the next level, you need to get into your mind that it's pretty much a job. It's all day long. That social life has to take a back seat, which is hard in college because now you got freedom. You got to make the right decisions. You just got to have your head on right. If you want to play next level baseball, any sport, you just got to have the right head, the right mindset. It's a grind. It's a grind.
Rob, the question goes to you as well, because you've seen both perspectives.
You said the same question?
Yeah.
Basically, D1, the comparison is practice-wise, it's fast, it's efficient, it's one thing to the next, very quickly. But all of the diving around, they don't tolerate that because they didn't bring you in to get hurt at practice trying to impress somebody. Mm-hmm. So I remember diving for a ball and they're like, "Get up, Ricky." Like, there's nobody out here to see you. What's the point of you breaking a finger in practice? So I remember that. D2, it was harder at practice at D2 than it was at D1 for sure. And maybe specifically because Mount Olive is different. Right. They breed this mindset that, hey, you're not a baseball player. We treat you like a warrior. The circuit was 12. It was 6 weeks, 2 times a week in the weight room, and it's 12 stations. And you start off with your max, and you got a spotter behind you. So say if I max 500 on squat, my first circuit I might start at 400 or 385 or something. By circuit number 6, you have, by a halfway point of the circuit, you have, you should be above your max. So you're tearing down your body in order to, during the break, Thanksgiving break, it's like guys come back and they're just it's like the weight just swole up on them. And muscles swole up on them. It was rougher at D2 than it was at D1. Right. Now on the field wise, the difference is if I get a pitch to hit at D1 at Georgia, and I don't swing or I foul it off, he got something to put me away with. He got a slider, he got a curveball, he got something he about to put me away with. D2, I might get another shot. because for how hard they throw out, we face a couple of guys in the 90s, but that's pretty much all he has. His other stuff isn't plus.
Right.
There was many times Brown told me, "Hey, you need to be ready to hit because he got stuff to put you out with." And I remember facing Jeff Walters and taking the fastball down the middle for strike two, thinking, I get it back because of Brett Scanner, I can get it back. Jeff threw me a back foot slider and I was on the bench. It's that, as far as practice goes, it's pace, is that. As far as game goes, it's just that as well, but it just depends on what D2 you go to. Not all of it's considered top 10,
Right.
so
That's right.
it's a whole different mindset.
So it depends on the program.
It just depends on the program.
Right. All right, Kaleb and Aaron. My last question. I want you to reflect. You are a high round. You guys are high round draft picks. You guys are pretty much knowing that you're going to wait to the last day as your representative is negotiating with the club, and you ultimately sign. Now you have to report the first day. The first day. You guys are high school players. You don't know anything about pro ball, but you walk into that team. How were you greeted? How were you greeted as the bonus babies, of the team?
I can tell you how I was greeted.
Okay, go ahead.
When I walked through the clubhouse doors, there was a guy that walked up to me that looked like somebody I went to school with. But he said, "K-Lo-K." I said, "What?" He was speaking Spanish to me. He thought I was Dominican. So that was my first interaction. But there was a guy named Garvin Austin that spotted me, and I believe I had seen him when I did my physical. He ended up being the pitching coach for the Twins some years later. But I remember him greeting me saying, like, "Oh, the baby's here. Like it's time to play now. The negotiating's over." So you can feel some of the expectation when you walked in. Some guys grade Fuson.
He was represented on the movie.
Yeah, Moneyball.
Right.
Yeah. They kind of let you feel it. There's an expectation when you walk in. I mean, not necessarily day one, but you just know. And then guys around you know where you were picked, maybe even how much you got.
Right. No doubt about it.
So
Public back.
yeah, they know. So there's an expectation. For the most part, the guys are great.
Yeah.
That I met initially. We're all a lot of us coming out of high school, especially drafted around the same time. So initially, there's that expectation, but at the same time, it was different being away from home. But you had guys going through the same thing that kind of helped you get through it as well.
That's right. All right, Kaleb.
Yeah, like Aaron said, expectation. You walk in and you can feel it. Whether you put some of that on yourself or not, we probably did. My experience was when I first got there, there was a couple guys that had already signed with the Angels that I actually played with. So I walk in the door and there's Chavez Clark and Cam Bedrosian there, and I've played with these guys since we were 12, 14, 15,
Right.
whatever. And so that was pretty cool, but they were like, "Geez, Kaleb, what took you so long?" I mean, come on, bro, we've been here for 3 weeks already. But that was pretty cool to go into a locker room and have some of my former teammates that I played with, travel ball with. But yeah, there was a lot of expectation right out of the gate. People knew the amount of money you got. People knew where you got picked. Some of your college seniors that might have gotten a plane ticket and a Snickers bar, they're kind of over there giving you like a little stank eye, but because there's a precedent, and then there's sometimes guys, a lot of high school guys get this rep because they get all this money and they're like, these guys are idiots, right? And some of them, some guys are, but some guys aren't. I think once they got to know Aaron and myself, they're like, these guys aren't the normal bonus babies that are just out there blowing it on, a Lamborghini or something. Like, these guys are here to work, and I think that's what won over most of the guys I was around. It was, all right, so what? You got some money, let's go play. Yeah.
Well, listen, from my perspective, man, I can't tell you. I've told you before we camp today, and I'm grateful for you guys' attitude towards coming back and giving to the youth. Man, baseball is in a great position. I am concerned that the hunger and desire that you all had coming up, I just don't see it. I don't see it. So maybe maybe I'm biased somewhat, because when you talk to folks who's used to things being a certain way, times change, and maybe there is another way. But I don't know how you succeed on a high level without having hunger, without having a desire to go out and work, and having that competitive look in your eyes. I don't know. Me coming up, I'd have given anything to have some professional college athletes, come in and talk about an experience and listen to you guys talk about what needs to happen, and what you need to do. So I'm grateful for y'all. I can't tell you how proud I am of all of you, just to see who you become and what you're doing nowadays. I know, Kaleb, you're pitching for the Yankees now. Yep. DJ, you're coaching now.
Coach and athletic director.
That's right. I thought you was athletic director. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Still do my lessons sometime here and there, but
Okay,
just trying to give back to.
We're gonna have to talk. I may have a place for you to do lessons.
Anytime you need me.
Gotta coach a team or something.
Anytime you need me.
Rob, you're over. What are you doing?
I'm the area director and athletic director of the Boys and Girls Club in Brooks County.
All right, and then Aaron, you're manager.
Ops manager out at Target in Tiffin. Been doing that 3 years.
There's no doubt in my mind you all are going to be successful, in whatever you decide to do. So, man, I'm thankful that I could be alone, just knowing your parents and just developing a relationship with them. Man, I just know you guys are extremely blessed individuals, and I know you're going to get back. And I feel a sense of hope and confidence that wherever you guys are around, the kids and whoever's going to listen to you, they're going to learn and they're going to be okay. So thank y'all. I appreciate you, man. And anytime y'all need me or anything from me, man, I'm just give me a shout. I'll do whatever you need me to do. Okay.
Thanks, Ship.
I appreciate you, Coach.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. I enjoyed that. Thanks a lot.
Anytime,
Okay.
man.
Oh, yeah, whatever.